Something kind of just like popped up in the blah, 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 blah. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. We're going to be doing a makeup and movie slash TV show chat. I'm really excited about this one. It's something that just kind of like popped up in my head when I was watching a TV show earlier that was just recently released on Netflix. It has 8 episodes. So today I'm going to be using the new Natasha Denona Peak palette. I got this in my November Boxycharm, so we're going to use this one, and it kind of goes with my sweater, like it's bright and poppy. And we're going to be talking about the new TV show that just released on Netflix called Dash and Lily, and I wanted to give you guys a like synopsis slash review of the show and let you guys know what I think, while also, you know, doing my makeup. I thought that was, you know, going to be really interesting. This is new. Here we go. Yeah. I was looking for a Christmassy type of show or movie, and I was like, okay. Usually this time of year, right before or right around Thanksgiving, they start putting out all their Christmas movies, and they really haven't done any Christmas shows before or holiday shows before. And I saw Dash and Lily, and I was pretty intrigued by the whole like scenario of the show. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, I don't think. I decided to tune into this. I thought it was a movie, actually. I didn't think that it was going to be like different episodes. It's like a mini series, and I thought it was actually just, you know, a movie because of the way that it sounded, the way that the plot line went. Let's talk about the plot line. The plot of the entire story is there are these two teenagers. One is 17, her name is Lily, and then the other one is Dash, which I think he's about the same age as Lily, but they don't really go into detail about that. Dash and Lily, they live in New York City, and from the first thing you see is Dash walking down the street, moseying about life. It's, you know, 5 days before Christmas, and he's just not happy with life. And come to find out, his parents are divorced, and he is hiding out at his dad's apartment while his dad is like in the Swiss Alps skiing with his latest girlfriend, and he's just like, I need some time away from my mom. And then on the other spectrum of things, you have Lily. Lily comes from a traditional family, and her parents are still together. Her father is American, her mother is Asian. Lily is, you know, being raised in New York City, and so she lives with her mom, her dad, her older brother Langston, and then also her grandfather, and they all live in her grandfather's apartment in New York City. Lily has left a red notebook that says, "Do you dare?" And it sparks interest in Dash. He doesn't know who Lily is at this point in time. He doesn't know her name. He doesn't know if it's a girl. And so she does a dare. And the dares are to find certain lines in a book to put out a code to see, you know, what the message is. And he figures out the code. And then from there, they start handing off this notebook to each other, but they never meet each other. They like leave it either in the bookstore where she originally put it, or they leave it at a pizza parlor where he left it at one point. Through the course of this entire mini series, you see Dash and Lily really get to know each other through writing to each other and encouraging each other to do things outside their box. And they just get to know each other, and it's like super old-fashioned, super like, you don't have stories like this anymore where kids write to each other and they don't just, you know, text. You don't have like love letters that are being written to each other. And it's a very good like plot line to show you that like love can blossom even when you're writing to somebody. I love the message behind this TV show. So basically that's like the synopsis of it. And it gets down to the point where Lily and Dash, they want to actually meet in person. Now that you guys kind of know what the show is about, I kind of wanted to give you guys my opinion on this show. Overall, I think that the plot of this show is very interesting, especially with the old-fashioned, let's exchange letters, let's write to each other. I think that the twist of them not knowing who each other is very... It's interesting in a way because it's like if you have a pen pal, like I had a pen pal back in the 90s. So there are some like really unrealistic aspects to the show, especially with the way that they leave the notebook in certain places. It just, I mean, it makes sense in ways, but at the same time, it's kind of like, would that really happen in real life? Probably not. And then you also have the unrealistic like expectation of, I don't know how it is in New York City, but these kids have like very like super independence, but they are like teenagers. Now, they did set up the plot line so that Lily's parents are out of the picture and her grandfather is out of the picture, and then obviously Dash is hiding from both of his parents, but they even set up the unrealistic expectation of like the friends. So the friends that come in and out of the picture, they don't have, like, their parents aren't around either. And maybe that's true of certain situations. My parents never left me alone for Christmas. I definitely have to say, like, the realisticness of that certain aspect it's kind of interesting and weird. Like, do they really just like roam around New York City? Money just doesn't seem to be a question with this movie. Like, where do they get the money from? I mean, they're still children, so it makes you wonder. And then only one of the friends actually has a job. He works at a pizza parlor. It does. It seems like money is a little bit of a non-issue in this show. Like, where do the kids get the money to do these types of things? To me is interesting. Maybe some people watching it just don't think about it. Like, where do they get the money to have like a really big party? Where are the parents at? Like, that to me just kind of intersects the reality of, or the non-reality of the show, that most times, like, your parents are going to be around. Overall, like, the actual preface, the actual, like, story, I think it has a great message. You can still find love, like, the old-fashioned way. You can still write letters to each other. Like, it's okay to write letters to each other. I think that's, like, the main thing that I love, is that you're in a place like New York City that's so huge, and there is a realistic reality to writing love letters to one another, even just getting to know somebody through writing letters. That's how Henry VIII fell in love with Anne Boleyn. They wrote back and forth to each other. That's how a lot of people during war would fall in love with each other, was writing to each other. And I feel like that is probably the most realistic aspect of it all. And portraying it in a 2020 year, that is a very interesting take on how our world is today, where teenagers and adults, even people my age, they like completely rely on, you know, technology to meet people. And I think this movie is a good definition of showing anybody that you can find love without a cell phone. Besides that, with the realistic and unrealistic expectations of it all, some things I did notice that they seem to portray well, but I don't know if it's an actual reality. They definitely portrayed a difference between like somebody who is more eccentric. Lily's character is very like, how would you describe it? She's very individualistic. She goes against the norm. She has her own personality. She is her own person. And you can tell that by the way that she dresses, the way that she talks, the way that she acts. Like, she does not act like somebody who, a carbon copy of someone else. And I think that that is a great representation of showing people, like, you don't need to be a carbon copy of somebody else. It's a great representation of individuality. Like, Lily, the main character, has great like individuality. The way that they portrayed her in this like mini series, it just shows you that you don't have to succumb to peer pressure or the norm to be liked, loved, or to not be yourself. Being yourself and discovering who you are is a key message in this TV show series, like in this mini series. Two messages, I guess, is that you can find love, not online, and individuality and knowing and finding out who you are, and about like discovery and discovering who you are. I think those are like the two main messages of this show. Is great and positive, especially for teenagers who are going to be watching this and they're like, oh, like you really can be your own self. You can discover who you are. Like, I think it's a good, clean message of not portraying, you know, all these teenagers drinking and having sex and doing things that, you know, is promoted and allowed in the world today. It's just kind of like a step back into not necessarily the 1950s, but it definitely has like some aspects of, you know, an older generation in it, but it portrays through a younger character, through younger characters to a younger audience. It's at Christmas time. That's the other thing I really like about this show, is that it's portrayed at Christmas time, and you see a lot of like, you know, Christmassy things that happen in New York City, and I feel like it kind of gives us a little bit of normalcy right now when Christmas just isn't gonna happen the way that it should for 2020. You never see a TV show that portrays like the holidays, and this one goes from December 18th, I believe. Like, it goes like, you know, 7 days, the week before Christmas to New Year's, and the show, it ends on New Year's night, New Year's Eve, going into New Year's Day. It wraps you into like the Christmas season, and it shows you all the things that people love about Christmas that aren't commercialized. It highlights on enjoying life. And what I mean by not being commercialized is that it isn't all about gifting and spending money. It's more about enjoying things, the little things that you would never really think about or appreciate on a normal basis. Really just getting back to the bare bones of what the holidays are about, which is like family and not commercialism. Overall, I think that the whole like it being like a mini series should not weigh you down on the final decision on whether you should watch the show or not. I definitely think that it's something that you can watch over the course of the holiday season. It's only 8 episodes, and I think each one is maybe a half an hour to an hour long. I don't know. You kind of get sucked into it. So I don't know. I don't even know how long they were. I just kind of like got sucked into the entire thing, and all of a sudden I realized I was on like the 5th episode, and I was like, oh, okay. It's definitely a TV show I think that is worth watching on Netflix, especially if you are or if you aren't all about the holidays. It has a great like romantic twist to it, like a very non-traditional twist to the holidays. Is it something that your kids will enjoy? Little kids, not so much, because it's not a cartoon. I think that if you have like a preteen or a teenager, they would definitely enjoy watching this show, especially if they have the attention span to want to watch it. But like I said, I started watching it and all of a sudden I was binge watching because I realized I was already 5 episodes into the show, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I think, like I said, I think the episodes are maybe a half an hour each, maybe 45 minutes, but I realized like, oh, I'm actually like knee deep into this show, and I didn't even realize it. Like, that's how good it is. Now, is it like, I think even like the older generation, like somebody like my mom's age, she's in her 50s, I think she would enjoy this. I know I enjoy it. I am in my 30s, and I definitely think that like your preteen or your teenager would enjoy it because it's got some comedy, it's got some like sentimental, it's not like the crying kind, but it's definitely like some relatable things in there. It's got some romance in there. It's got some, you know, a little bit of everything that kind of like tugs and pulls at you. It even has an appearance from the Jonas Brothers, if your teenagers like the Jonas Brothers. But I definitely feel like it is a great like TV show / movie to sit down with your kids, you know, watch, or you could even watch it with your significant other. Even my husband, like, he sat down and he started watching it with me, and he was like, oh, this is really cute. Like, I actually like this. So he even enjoyed it. If you guys are wanting to have like continual like date nights where you just sit down and you watch an episode of Dash and Lily, you could definitely do that. And it brings that like holidayness to everything, and I just enjoyed it so much. Definitely recommend it. I think that you guys will enjoy it. I do give it a great review. I am super picky about what TV shows that I watch, and I feel like this just kind of like nailed it on the head as something like I wanted to see for the holiday season. I was just like, yeah, I need a little bit of like good Christmas cheer, like a good, wholesome, romantic, but not romantic, like self-discovery film TV show, and I think it delivered on like every single level. I thought it was really, really good. That concludes this video slash my review of the new TV series on Netflix, Dash and Lily, and you guys got to see me kind of doing my makeup and talking about this as well. I hope you guys liked this video. Give it a good thumbs up if you do. If you want to see more like makeup and movies, let me know. Leave a comment below. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! And I will see you guys in my next